Today we're here to talk about these headphones, but these are more than just headphones. These are technically more tactical equipment rather than musical equipment. I'm going to give some context to that, but I know that some people's attention spans are kind of limited, so there are chapters that I manually add down on the timeline. So, I am a dude that likes a lot of dude hobbies. I play guitar, I play drums, I play video games, and from the playing video games, I grew kind of a fondness for guns. I also grew up in Wisconsin for the first 10 or so years of my life, and I loved Nerf guns as a kid. So put all of that together and you got airsoft. For those who don't know, airsoft is a war game style sport where you run around playing military militiaman and shoot plastic BBs at each other. The closest and more mainstream analogs are paintball or laser tag, but this version is more focused on the realism of like the military style due to the adaptability of the plastic BBs rather than the paintballs, but that's a different subject. Anyway, the main point that I'm trying to make is that people really get into this sport/game, especially when you go into events called milsims, and I believe that's shortened for literally military simulation. At least I'm 98% sure. Even at your average fields and events, some people may be wearing these headphones. But why, right? Well, I know these as comtacs. There may be more official terms or names for these, but I just don't know them right now. Anyway, that term will get you far enough on an Amazon search. So what makes these so special and tactical? Well, the first and most basic thing is the 3.5mm input jack, or the auxiliary jack. This is meant to be used for your communication radio, so it can be played into these, and some comtacs come even looking like a heavy-duty gaming headset for gamers who are prone to rage fits.
Well, can I do that?
But they come with a mic that comes out in front of you that allows you to hopefully have better communication input going into your radio for your fellow soldiers, players, whatever situation you would be in. But obviously I didn't need anything like that, so I used this jack for inputting music to practice to. First of all, I was actually impressed with the speaker quality of this headset. The packaging claims that the speakers are, quote, full dynamic range HD speakers for clear and balanced sound. To test while writing this video, I used the song Suffocate by the band Cold as my kind of control because I have listened to it a decent bit recently through my desktop speakers with a sub underneath my desk. And the audio was actually indeed balanced, the only exception being the bass was lacking. But I kind of assumed that this was actually intentional because bass frequencies kind of get in through the headphones naturally due to vibration, physics, and all of that math junk when in actually loud scenarios. However, I did manage to notice a synth pad in a part of the song that I had never actually heard before, but also I don't usually listen to music through headphones very often anymore. It's also here that I would like to mention the price of my unit. It's slightly complex to be able to tell how I should be judging the build and component quality based on the price, because it says that the base price is $80. However, they are marked down to $47, and this doesn't even seem to be a real sale, quote unquote, because they were marked down to $39 months ago when these were actually purchased. So I don't know for sure what kind of bill of materials cost we're getting here. There's also affiliate links to these in the description because I make little to no income and it helps me out a little bit. But also watch the end of the video before buying these to make sure you know exactly what you're getting into. Additionally, this specific set has been labeled as temporarily unavailable. This could mean that they could eventually come back in stock, or that they have been discontinued and that the listing has just not been updated or removed by the seller. So the company seems to be doing a little bit of weird things with their Amazon listings because my original link that I actually purchased through is its own separate thing, and so it's also still marked as temporarily unavailable. So I found this listing that has multiple options, and these that I'm pretty sure the exact same thing. They look exactly the same and they're relatively closely priced, but it also has other options for colors and stuff. So one thing that I mentioned in the next clip that I'm going to remove is I kind of wish I got these high visibility green ones, because I'm kind of a sucker for neon green. At least hopefully if they turned out as that color. It's kind of hard to tell online sometimes how colors are exactly going to turn out. But yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. Another option would be these cool pink ones. They got kind of pink accented ones. They're pretty stylish. They also got them in teal, they call it. Another one that I think is fairly new, since literally yesterday when recording this, but also writing the script was a little bit before that, they added these sprinkle designs. There's this pink frosted one, and then there's one that's brown frosted, and that's so freaking cool. How expensive are these? They're even cheaper than the OD green ones, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, watch the end of the video, because even though these are cool, there's a bit of a downside, unfortunately, for our musical purposes here. Now on to the more exciting part, and what really makes these things awesome, tactical, and possibly an amazing utility item for quite a few different areas of life. Other than simply having headphones to connect your walkie-talkie to, these headphones are equipped with stereo, meaning 2 on each side, microphones that pick up the sound around you and plays it into the headphones. Something that is good to know, but probably not as important for us in this instance, is that I think that these have some directional awareness, but I'm not exactly sure how much, at least especially for my lower end model here. The microphones are mentioned on the box as high-gain omnidirectional microphones. This means that the mics should be able to pick up sounds from just about every direction, but this can be limited by a few of the build factors and stuff. Either way, unfortunately, the microphones seem to be a lacking part in this assembly. That, or there is some processing that kind of doesn't take advantage of the full range of the great quality speakers. I say this because the audio of what's happening around you is very mids focused, and it kind of sounds like it's coming through like a telephone, like a cell phone. But essentially, it just sounds very filtered. And because of the music listening experience being pretty good, that leads me to believe that something in the microphone assembly line here is the weak link of this product. Though this may not be the full story, because the sound from the mics do not go directly to the speakers either. And I'm not just talking about the volume knob either. The last thing that I need to mention in this section is that the audio of the actual things happening around it is quite quiet in the headphones, at least when they are of average or normal volume. Another basic testing measure that I did was that I just sat down and watched TV with these things on. This really shows how bad the filtering is. It works well for dialogue processing, like a telephone, but does seem quite lacking when talking about the full range nature of the speakers. Now here's where the protective and possibly coolest part really comes in. These headphones are meant for wartime scenarios, so what these are built for is gunfire situations. So let's start from the marketing on the box again. It says sound activated compression with 0.02 second reaction time. In other words, unbelievably fast reaction. Another thing I would like to draw attention to is the word compression, because I partially feel that this is a misnomer in this situation. But I will also continue on past that for now. The box also says low noise / frequency tune for natural sound clarity. The noise thing kind of makes sense, because if you have that hissing from boosted audio, it can be distracting and or just really bad for actually hearing your surroundings. But the frequency tuning, I don't know for sure if it's just if it's referencing that they had to use frequency canceling to remove that hissing, because like stated before, the speakers are a little lacking in the bass department, and the mics are lacking in bass and a bit in the highs as far as I can tell as well. So I'm not for sure what frequency tuning means in this scenario. Anyway, moving on from the marketing, this is where the headphones get a little disappointing for all the great things that I've said so far. So the sound quality is one thing, but the processing inside is a whole nother. The word compression is what I want to focus on again. It has this processing where the headphones will amplify quieter sounds for maximum awareness, but it pseudo backfires if you ask me. While writing this and watching the TV, I mentioned that the TV speech was a little quiet. However, somehow my typing was basically full volume, which means that it was louder than the TV that I had turned up a little bit louder than I normally even would. The clicky-clack from my keyboard was extremely prominent compared to the talking around me. It's a strange sensation to hear the world this way. It almost seems like every depiction of when people are on Adderall or Ritalin or things like that in movies and shows.
Feel anything yet?
Starting to.
Then there's the opposite side of the quote-unquote compression. When I saw that these had active compression, I thought I had a genius idea. This may seem like a tangent, but stick with me here. A while ago, I think when I still had my job, I invested in equipment to set up an in-ear monitoring system for my acoustic drum kit. I have these JBL headphones which have great sound quality, but the only reason why I could hear my drums is that they are simply so loud, at least from the player seat. But I'm also still not hearing the full range and I'm missing some of the finer details. Plus, I used them so frequently for practice that they started to slip and shift on my head and ears, and they started exposing my hearing to more and more of the full volume of the drums. I'm very paranoid about my hearing because currently there are literally no fixes to hearing damage. I think I saw that there was some experimental tinnitus treatments happening, but that still doesn't account for the actual loss of hearing either. So back to the compression. First of all, these are fully over-ear headphones, and my JBLs I think are just supposed to be on-ear, or at least that's how they act. And these contacts are supposedly designed to block out more sound, not just have active noise cancellation like most other headphones have. The box says sound dampening composite housing for its construction. So based on all of these descriptors, I was led to believe that this would be a perfect tool for live music in basically all its forms, from practice to viewing a live show to even being the one on the stage or even assisting the stage. So I was thinking, who needs to spend $100, $200, $300 or even possibly more on an in-ear monitoring setup when you can just have a pair of these headphones? However, this is where the main roadblock is. On this unit, once the volume reaches a certain threshold, the outside audio is simply cut off and blocked. So at loud volumes, rather than being a compressor, it's more of a limiter. Well, actually, a limiter is even nicer than what we have here. I wish I had a limiter on this. Limiters don't turn off the sound when they reach a certain level. They just try to keep it at that level, which is what I was kind of expecting. But, however, while I was testing these headphones for simple acoustic drum practice, it was a bit of a strange sensation. The drum's volume seems to be quite close to the cutoff point of the processing, because the attack is cut off, except for the ambient sound that gets in through the headphones. So you lose your initial hit on your attack and get a dip in sound and have it quickly come back into your perception, except for the ambient bleed, of course. And I play metal, so when you're playing more or faster, the sound is constantly coming in and out of your full perception. Also, I don't hold the sound bleed against this product in any way. They never said that these headphones/earmuffs were actually sound canceling actively or passively. They only said sound dampening. And for what does come through, from what I can tell, it is at safe volumes. But the problem, of course, is if you were actually going into a live music show with these, they would basically just be normal hearing protection muffs. If you went to a rock show or some major stadium show, the volume would probably always be above the cutoff limit, and you would just be listening to the muffled sound of the show as if you were wearing normal hearing protection earmuffs. So unfortunately, these don't seem to be exactly what we're looking for in terms of musical applications. Now, these are on the low-end price point for this kind of system. These are another type of product that spans the whole gambit of price ranges. You can spend $50, $150, or even $1,000 and anywhere in between and possibly beyond on just one of these sets of headphones. So I don't know how good or how much better the response and quality gets as you move up the food chain of these. It's possible some function more like how we would like in this scenario, but I can't be sure because I am a small channel with little to no funding, and companies aren't exactly jumping at the opportunity to work with me. Additionally, this legitimately seems to be an under-the-radar combination of hobby and utility item. I tried looking this subject up on YouTube, and either it's videos about how contacts work, reviews about contacts, or just other audio topics that are slightly unrelated, but nothing specifically about using these in musical applications. But I guess I found out why. Interestingly, a few days after I thought about this video as a concept, Zildjian released these headphones, the AUX E headphones. These are actually light on marketing material as far as I can find searching their website and YouTube, and almost non-existent in drumming specific marketing, which is a little strange for a 400-year-old cymbal company, if you ask me, but you know, whatever. The Alchemy name is severely overshadowed by the electric drum kits that Zildjian put out in the same series name, and basically no one made any videos about the headphones. I found a short, but it's just a frickin' unboxing and has literally no text or talking, it's just frickin' music, so that tells me nothing other than it comes with a C2C cable. However, I found out about these through my Google Pixel's recommended news section. I usually scroll through it and look at the headlines and to just get a general idea of what's happening in the world, but every once in a while I see something that I just have to click on, and since I had just come up with this idea as a concept, this was one of them. I don't know the exact article, but I recall it mentioning something like that those headphones are supposed to have some drummer-centric noise canceling, where the headphones will listen to the world around you like they have to in order to do active noise canceling, but it will try to let drum frequencies pass through so you can hear your kit but nothing else. Now that's also somewhat of a vague memory, but for Zildjian and the dang things being $400, I would come to expect something more than an app that can just equalize each speaker individually. And how well would that selective noise canceling work? Well, I have no clue. Zildjian, hit me up with a set of these headphones for science. Personally, even for $400, I don't think that there's enough knowledge about the active noise canceling and the audio pass-through to be able to perform something like that well yet. But again, I am a simple plebeian who cannot afford the luxury drumming headphones, if they are even drumming headphones, really. As a super small tangent, I also am not a big fan of Zildjian's beginner cymbals because they kept just breaking on me while my Sabian B8s would significantly outlast them and just be generally tanks, comparatively. However, I will keep trying to explore this world of mic'd headphone hybrid tech and see what else I can hopefully find. If you have any recommendations about things that you know of that work like this but better for our purposes, let me know. I have sent an email to the company who makes my set of contacts here, asking them if any of their higher end models work more like the way that we would like them to in this scenario. And I also recommended that they adapt some of their designs to meet other consumer needs like ours. If not, of course. They already have basically 60% or more of the work done, they just need some tuning for other purposes than shooting guns or construction work. I think that's one of the other more viable uses for these. Which I mentioned all that, and the fact that what I wanted to use these for was not the designed purpose, of course. But I am hopeful that maybe I'm making a difference, and maybe we'll see some awesome, innovative new products coming in the making soon. If you found this video informational or entertaining, please leave a like. This is mainly a music and 3D printing channel, but we also do basically anything else here. This is one of the less weird but still out there concepts, but I hope you found it helpful or informational either way. If any of that sounds good, please consider subscribing. Like stated earlier, I don't make much money, so if you use one of my affiliate links in the description, or even if you don't buy what's actually linked, as long as you use the same tab and instance of Amazon, it still helps me out a bit when you purchase something using it. So it would be greatly appreciated if you would do so. Someone actually has been purchasing a bunch of like hex variety sets of bolts and nuts with my links, and it's been helping me out a bit. I don't know if it's one person or a variety of people, but it's gotten me a little bit of cash. It's Very small, of course, but it still helps me out, and I very much appreciate it. That's all I have to say for now, so I'm going to say bye-bye.